All right. So we're going to start off today's session with the college search. It's going to give you guys a brief introduction about Education USA and USCFP and the services that we have to offer, and then we'll jump right into it. All right. So what is Education USA? We have three advising centers in Pakistan, Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad. So if you have any friends or family members who want to go to the US or are interested in applying to US universities, whether it's for undergrad, for a grad or a PhD, we're more than happy to help them out. All our services are free of cost, so we don't charge anything for our services. And then we have the Fulbright Commission, which is our flagship scholarship, the Fulbright Scholarship. Um, it's open right now. First April is the deadline. It's the Masters and the PhD scholarship. Um, and Sherbano also went on the exact same thing. All right, so what is Education USA? We're part of the US State Department. Our job is to provide accurate, current, and comprehensive information. And advisors such as myself or Sherbanu, uh, we assist students such as yourselves who want to go to the US, and we figure out what your best fit university could be. Best fit could be maybe it could be location. You have family members near to a certain zip code, perhaps, and you want to live, and your parents say that you need to live close to them. So your best fit would be a bit different. Perhaps you can only afford to spend X amount of money on your university. So you're looking for a lot more need-based aid, right, and financial aid. So your best fit university would be going to be different from somebody else. There's about 4,300, 4,400 universities in the US, and not all of them have all the majors uh, of the world, right? So knowing how to filter these universities is something that we assist with. And obviously, we'll talk more about it later in this presentation. We do different sessions. We do in-house sessions or online sessions, such as this one. We do workshops, GRE workshops, SAT workshops, TOEFL workshops. All three offices that we have, we have a library in our offices. So, and they're mostly they have the like academic books. So if you want to study for like the GRE or the SAT, we have the most up-to-date books available. We do different mock exams, and then of course we do the one-on-one advice. Again, all our services are free of cost for all students. At Education USA, we have the 5 steps to US study. Number one is researching your options. Number two is financing your studies, completing your application, applying for the visa, and then pre-departure orientation at the end. Today, we're going to be talking about the number one option, which is researching your options. All right. So there's different tools that you can use that students can use to shortlist universities. In my opinion, the number one tool that a student can use should be the College Board website. The College Board website is also the website where you will be registering to apply for your SAT. It is also the same website where you will also be applying to universities for the CSS profile. Um, so make sure that you have an account and that you can save your college searches that way. Right. All right, so I'm not sure. Can you guys see my mouse here? No, you can. Mm, second. Okay. So once you go on the College Board website, it's called the Big Future. There's many options you can use different filters. There's majors, location, by type, by affordability. So there's all these different um, filters that you can use to shortlist universities. Because as you can see over here, it says 4,306 colleges found. And these are accredited institutions that have registered with College Board on their website. And then obviously College Board is going to have all their information as well. Um, so now the point is that we now are going to start filtering these universities. So we started with 4,300 universities, right? Um, now we are going to start with the first filter. Um, And the first filter is going, sorry, is the first filter, at least the one that I showed, is through majors. And in this example, we're going to assume that somebody has a mechanical engineering major. And as you can see, we immediately went down from 4,000 universities down to 432, right? So this is something that is going to assist you in reducing the amount of the amount of universities that we need to apply to. So from 4,300 universities, we're down to 432. Next up, another filter that you can use is the um, affordability one, right? This one right here. So once we get into it, there's this option that I usually ask students to check mark, which is the aid for international students. Because we want to make sure a lot of the students that we deal in with in Pakistan, and you don't necessarily have to turn this on, but if you do need some form of aid, whether it's need-based aid or non-need-based aid, meaning merit-based aid, then you should probably check mark this button right here, right? Um, Now we're down to once we have that button check mark on, uh, the universities that get reduced to is the number is 281. And we can further reduce this now by going into admissions, which is right here. And I'm just giving you guys an example, right? This is just my way of trying to reduce this number as an example to show you. You don't have to obviously follow this method. It's very likely that if you follow this method, um, the universities would come out as zero also, and that has happened in the past. So I just want to make sure that you don't reduce it too much. SED is something that I always recommend students give, um, because once you start asking for a lot of aid, the universities, even though the admissions process in the US, it's a holistic approach, meaning that they're looking at everything. They're looking at your letters of recommendation. They're looking at your SAT scores, your internal grades, your O levels, or maybe 10th grade grades, internal 11th grade grades, 11th grades. Um, so better to give your SAT, I would recommend, because they will also have an idea that how well are you adapted to taking these exams. Um, and a good SAT score would probably be around like 1400, I would say. Um, so yeah, 1450, actually 1450 to or maybe even 1470. Yeah, so between 1450 and 1500 is a decent competitive score. Um, so try to at least get that much, I would recommend. Right. All right. Now that we have the SAT scores in 1450 to 1600, colleges are down to 42. Right. I think that's a pretty decent number. We can start going. What you can start doing at this point is take these university names and start seeing what these universities have to offer. Um, Now, once I did this shortlisting, the University of Massachusetts Amherst, UMass Amherst came up. Once you click the university, it gives you all these different uh, this different information. Um, for the sake of this example, this is a public institute, and the next example is going to be a private university. Um, there's the overview tab, then there's obviously the admissions tab, academics, how much does it cost, campus life. So there's all these things that um, you can see about the university, right? Um, One thing that I want to teach you guys is, one second. Sorry. Hold on. One thing that I wanted to teach you all is sorry, yeah, is about the common data set. This screenshot that I have in front of all of you is from the 2025-26 Common Data Set CDS of UMass Amherst. As you can see, they have $21 million in need-based aid, financial aid for degree-seeking undergraduate international students that they can give away. Um, and how many undergraduates did they give that to? 1,591. And that came to an average of $13,000 per student. This number is important because um, it's just an average number, right? Like this doesn't necessarily mean that everybody received 13,000. This just means that it's an average. Some people probably received 50,000. Some probably received $500, right? But this is just to give you an idea um, of how the university is giving away um, need-based aid. Number two, Princeton University. This is a private school. As I mentioned previously, UMass was public. This one is a four-year private school, right? Um, Let me just show you that again, right? Yeah, this is a four-year public and then four-year private. When we go into its common data set, we see a couple of things that we did not see with the previous common data set is that they have institutional need-based scholarship or grant aid is available. So essentially, when this was not check marked in the previous university, that meant that they were only giving out merit-based aid. Right? Um, all right. So the total amount of money that they're giving out this year is $51 million. That's a huge number. And to how many students? 597. That's an average of $86,000. Again, doesn't mean that everybody's getting the same amount of money. Just means that they will somebody's probably getting more, somebody's probably getting less, right? So this is the average. So common data set, all you need to do about to do all you need to do for the common data set is you go on Google, you type in common data set space and then the university's name and then huge document which is about 35, 40 pages long is going to show up. And then you just go to the H section of it, which is the financial aid section, and you're looking at H6 over here, this one, right? H6. That's where this information is going to show up. Right. Uh, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. Just put it in the Q&A. Okay. So, alright. So now, what we're looking at is how are we going to track the universities, right? Um, in the first example, when we started shortlisting universities, we had like 42 universities, and that's a good number. But obviously, we don't want to apply to 40 universities. At least with the Common App, you can only apply to 20 universities. And I personally do not recommend that you can apply to 20 universities. You should only be applying to maybe between 8 and 12. Um, because you don't need to apply to all the Ivy Leagues if that is something that you want to do. You can apply to one or two, and that's sufficient. You want to make sure that you have a good amount of safety schools, math schools, and then read schools, right? Um, I wanted to take you all through an example over here. This is all the data that I collected from the common data set of Princeton University, right? Um, from the common data set, the CDS. And this is this file that you see here, the tracking file with these numbers on top. This is a file that I've created myself, and I can share that with you if you just send me an email and I can share it. So through the common data set, we figure out that the undergraduate university students receiving it is 597, right? And then average comes to what, 86,000, and that is literally what we saw in the previous screenshot, right? If you just go back, 86,736, right? So 86,736 right here. Um, then some things that I want you guys to learn about is what is the percentage of admitted students, right? So we have 4% because the amount of students that applied is 42,000, and then 1,868 are the ones who got admitted. So this is the acceptance rate, right? 4% is the acceptance rate. Then I wanted to see what is the international students enrollment for the first year students. So that's 13% of the entire uh, population of the ones who got admitted, right? So 1868 are all freshmen, and then 186 are just international students. So 13% of the class is international students. Um, then we want to see the percentage of international students receiving aid. Um, so 79% are receiving aid. If there's 1,800 international students, then we have 758 who are actually receiving it. So that's a decent amount of number also. And then I wanted to see that percentage of undergraduate students for all undergrads, of all undergrads, right? Um, so we have all undergrads, meaning first year, second year, third year, and fourth year, right? From all undergrads, the freshmen are 13%. So that is, um, these are numbers that I like to see when doing shortlistings, because I want to see what kind of statistics that we're dealing with when we're applying to a university. Another thing that I would recommend students is to look at the early decision numbers. All right, so for that we can see Williams College, right? So Williams College regular decision is 8%. That's their acceptance rate. But when we go down to early decision, their acceptance rate jumps up to 31%. And this is why I always recommend students to apply early because the acceptance rate is usually double, if not more. Same example for Cornell University, um, early decision, which is a November 1st deadline, 19% acceptance rate. Whereas for regular decision, we have a 7% acceptance rate. So just want to, and then, okay, let's take this example, 19% here, and then 70% here, and this is Swarthmore, the great school. So this is just to give you guys an idea, statistically speaking, that you would have a higher chance of getting accepted if you apply it for early decision. Obviously, with early decision comes the caveat of um, being a binding decision. So this is something that we're not going to talk about in detail during today's webinar because we have early decision, we have regular decision, and then we have early action. Um, but I always recommend students to apply early decision. All right, we can move ahead from here. All right. Second tool that we can use is the Big J Education Consulting website. Um, if you go on their website and then on the top right, you have the resources tab. You go into the resources and scroll down, you will see this little option, the financial aid for undergraduate international students. Um, so remember how I was saying you can you get access to common data sets. So there's common data sets for different years. So the ones that I have shared with you all earlier is, as you can see, it says common data set 2025-26. So that means that this would be for the class of, so 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the class of 2029. But the data that this website is showing is for the class of 2028. So it's actually a year older. But I'm sure they'll probably upgrade it soon. But there's also a great resource that you can utilize. So you go over here, you press the interactive chart button, and just for the sake of this example, I put Princeton University down here, and the numbers are pretty much the same. Uh, first time international students right here, 721, and back, uh, if you go back here, we have um, 758. So the number has increased by about 30 something, right? 37 or something. Um, um, but I think that's pretty decent, right? Very close to the information. If you don't want to make that entire Excel sheet chart, this is something probably that you can use. It's also a great resource as well. Um, this would be big to educational consulting. Second resource that you can use is the BGZ International Admissions and Scholarship Database. This is also free to use, uh, but after some point, once you start scrolling a bit further right on this sheet, it starts asking you for to fund their patron account. So if that is something that you want to do, obviously you're free to do that. This is would also be a great resource that you can utilize to figure out where do you want to apply. Third resource would be the college planning tool. You can just literally go to collegedata.com, and it gives pretty much the almost the same information as the College Board website. Also, great resource that you can use. Another tool would be niche.com. With niche.com, what happens is that you can um, go on the website and it assists you basically to figure out using its AI model of where you would have the most amount of success um, with a university, given whatever your grades are and what your SAT score is. Some of the useful websites that I have posted here, yours would be for the undergraduate schools right here. Right. College Board is something that we already discussed. Peterson's is something that you can visit. Common App is the website that you'll be using to apply to different schools. It's also going to have a dashboard where you can literally just go and you can apply to different universities there. Big Future is the first example that we spoke about. And then niche.com is the last one. All right, now that we're coming to an end, um, just a statistic that I want to share with you guys. One in every four current heads of states have graduated from a US university. Um, these examples that we just want to show you guys the power of the American education, essentially. Questions. We have come to the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, you can put them in either the chat box or the Q&A. We're going to be happy to answer those questions. So one of the questions is, do universities require IELTS? So in America, it's usually TOEFL, and if you're applying for undergrad, that's not really something that you have to worry about, honestly, because if you're getting the SAT, and if you have good grades on in your O levels and A levels, or especially in your English and O levels, they'll probably just waive it. Any other questions? Sharbana, would you like to add anything?
I think that it's pretty brief, but I think just for undergraduate college search, I think what students tend to do a lot of the time is that they look at the university like overall, and they don't look at the like the department that they want to apply to specifically, because for a lot of universities their like department rankings aren't the same. Like, so for example, if a university has like a really good ranking in like a political science, right, and like they have really good like political science majors, but they might not have like a really good ranking in like engineering, for example. So I think that it's really important to look at like the specific department rankings, and also see where like alumni who have graduated from those particular programs, like where have they ended up, instead of just looking at the university name, like if it's like an Ivy League, or if it's like a really well-known university, but what matters more is that you look at what you want to accomplish out of the experience. I think that that's something that I see a lot, where students just look at the names, or like they look at like the overall image or like the overall reputation of the university, but they don't look at specifically like a particular department, or like the faculty of that particular program or department. So I think that's also something that is really useful to look at. It helps sort of narrow down your options. It helps you craft like a more targeted strategy as well. So I think just I would like to add that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Uh, Rehan Tahir is asking, is it mandatory to be an O levels or A level student to apply to universities? No, you can be an IB student, you can be studying in the metric or FSC line, the Pakistani system, if you want to apply to universities also. You can be a student of any educational system to apply. That's perfectly fine. Thank you, Shirban, for the insight. Um, yeah, I mean, the number one thing that students need to be worrying about is uh, it's not that difficult to get an acceptance. The problem is actually affording how to afford that education in the US, right? Because it's quite expensive. You're looking at anywhere between 20 to $80,000. Some are even like $120,000 a year. So I think students need to figure out how they can afford this university, and obviously that's going to be through need-based aid and merit-based aid. Um, but university shortlistings is something that will assist them immensely in that process. Are extracurriculars integral for getting accepted into well-known institutions? It's one of the questions. Um, Extracurriculars are definitely important. That is something that these university reps are looking for, the admissions committee. But one of the things that they're looking for is they want to see students who are consistent, who have consistently good grades, who are doing something outside of the classroom for their field of interest as well. Or even if it's not their field of interest, but they have some passion project or side project, maybe some research work that they've done with a professor, something, anything, just to show to the admissions committee that um, they don't require too much oversight, right? That they will be successful at whatever they do in the classroom if accepted on campus. Any other questions for us? Oh, I'll put my email down. It's Aman, AMAN, at usefp.org. It's AMAN, Aman, at usefp.org. You can send me an email if you have any questions. I'm happy to assist you. If you want the file that I shared earlier, um, mhm, this one, if this is something that you're interested in, more than happy to email this to you. All right. Because if we don't have any more questions, we could probably call it a day. Um, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Hopefully, you learned something valuable today. Um, Sharbana, unless if you want to add something, I think we can just close the session out.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Take care. Office. Bye bye.